Hello, welcome to FM Corner. I'm Danny Koontz, your host, Director of Relationship Management for Windy City Equipment. Today on the podcast, my special guest is Emily Dugan. Emily's a marketing manager for IVUEIT, which is a visual verification platform, easier for me to say. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her company and her and what they do. Emily, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you, Danny.
My pleasure to have you on the show today. Let's start with talk a little career. Kind of where'd you start to get to where you are today?
Absolutely. So I'll tell you that 5 years ago, I would never expect I would get into the facilities management industry. I had graduated from Kent State University in 2019, and I really didn't know where my career was going to go. I was doing various marketing internships. And I had actually met the CEO of IVUEIT at a random family friend of a friend Christmas party. And so he said he was just starting this business. They were looking for, a potential intern to help them out with some marketing. So I had finished another internship and he reached back out to me and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this thing. I didn't know again where my career was going to go, but I was testing it out and I immediately fell in love with not just what IVUEIT's doing, but I quickly started going to different conferences, meeting people, and just having such a deep appreciation for the people in the industry itself. But my role really evolved from doing social media to really just looking over the entire marketing department at IVUEIT. So bringing in leads for our clients, as well as looking over our viewer network side, which are the app users of our technology, and really just bringing community, education. So yeah, it's been a really long, great journey. I mean, I know it's only been 5 years so far, but I've been very self-taught from the start, and that's really helped me grow, learn a lot about myself, my character, and really just being able to push the boundaries in a way that, I've had the freedom, and I'm so grateful that I've had a lot of creative freedom to make my own decisions and push boundaries in different ways. So because of having that freedom, I've really felt a lot of growth and just the connections over the last 5 years. And now I can just proudly 5 years down the road since I've been here, just say like, I'm so grateful that random party happened and I happened to meet the CEO of IVUEIT because it's been nothing but an amazing journey so far.
It's outstanding. And one of the things you mentioned, and in lots of folks I talk about or that I talk to, very, very few ever saw any type of facility management in their future, whether they're doing what you're doing, they were a former facility manager like I was, or a vendor, whatever it is. Facility management was never what any of these folks saw. What happened was, for a lot of people, there was a need, there was an opportunity, and people kind of said, okay, and they get into it. And then depending on, doesn't matter what side of the ledger you're on in facility management, but they got in it and then loved it and grew from it and so on. But I've very, very rarely, maybe one or two at the most, people said, I was going to be a facility management. They're like, no, I had no plans, no nothing. And all of a sudden an opportunity came along and I took it. And I think that's great because it brings in lots of different kinds of folks to be in the industry and it helps it grow.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just to back off of that real quick, just changing that narrative within the industry. And I'm on a committee right now that we're trying to really help students understand that more, to know that that's an opportunity right out the get-go, either when they're still in high school, when they're, after high school, when they're looking for a next career, and just how can we almost infiltrate that part of their life to teach them that this is an option from an early young age. So doing a lot of work to really just help increase the awareness, because like you said, there's not an awareness, but when people find it, it's like, wow, I really lucked out and I'm grateful where I ended up.
You're exactly right. Speak a little bit about your company, what you do, who's your target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to break IVUEIT down at the base, because it's a little bit of a different type of technology. It's not something a lot of people see in the FM field. It's been around for quite some time now, but IVUEIT was born out of the idea that we need to be in 10 places at once. If only I could get a photo right now to verify, has my landscape been mowed, has the snow been plowed? And the co-founders of IVUEIT, they were working on these huge accounts across the nation. And they're like, man, if I could just get a photo right now, it could solve the issue. So that's where the idea of crowdsourcing came in. So IVUEIT helps people, our companies that we serve, enhance and expand their boots on the ground. And the way that we do it is very unique because we use crowdsourced technology. So we have an app called the IVUEIT app. You could download, anybody can download this app, and they go and they complete surveys, they collect photos, they collect video footage, and then they send that back to our team through the app. We then do a quality control review and get that data back to our clients. So to put this into a big perspective, we all know Dollar General is everywhere we go. There's a Dollar General everywhere. So I think there's almost 20,000 Dollar Generals. So to put it in perspective, we'll put all 19,000 Dollar Generals out on the map for our viewers. And within 24 hours, Dollar General has 85% of that data in their portfolio reviewed. If our quality control team happens to see any signs that it's an escalation, maybe it's a big pavement in the crack, maybe the grass is overgrown, we'll then escalate that to our clients. So IVUEIT is more than just photos and collecting data fast and affordably. It's the vision for the future. It's the vision to drive compliance at 100%, to not be in the dark about what's going on at your properties. And we've really made it that they're, because of the accessibility, because it is such an affordable price, because we get the job done so fast and we truly are nationwide. At the end of the day, all of those things are amazing, but it's really the after effect of companies not having to send their person out to go get a photo, wasting the time, the money, the expenses. They can just have IVUEIT do it today, or just a matter of utilizing your resources in the best way possible. So again, more than just photos, we are bridging the gap between facility managers and the properties that they manage, and really using that data to identify site trends, better rate what's going on. And this is in the interior of their property, the exterior, day, nighttime. So yeah, we've really just completely disrupted the field of data collection, and really just expedited it and made it accessible to all facility managers, because that data should be accessible in the day and age that we live in. Getting data and real-time information is at your fingertips, and we are just continuing to teach and educate about that solution for everybody.
That's great. And I was thinking about one thing as a facility manager, go back 12, 13 years, and I'm doing remodels for Ruby Tuesday. I'm going to do 800 of them.
Mm-hmm.
How great that would have been to have all this information and the pictures, have all the restaurants quickly,
Yes.
so that as we're making plans, okay, let's take a look at their awnings. What do we need to do here? Let's take a look at the roof. Let's take a look at the inside. What's the bar? I mean, you could, because everybody knows you have a remodel plan. Then you get to the locations and that remodel plan changes because there's things that you don't know. How helpful that would have been in building a budget and being ahead of the game versus, just going out there and then you discover on the fly. Or you ask the restaurant to send you pictures and that takes weeks and you don't have weeks and they don't know what to take pictures of and stuff.
I was just going to say absolutely. And that's the difference of, you get the good and the bad and the ugly because it's coming from the customer's point of view, or, your everyday shopper's point of view. And having that guided survey, they're collecting the exact information that you need. So like you said, yeah, budget wise, never overspending, having asset management, being able to read the serial numbers and the model type so they can purchase the correct equipment to do some type of remodel. So it's really changed the game, and it's continuing to. And it's really been an amazing part to be a part of, coming into facilities management and then being in the technology and then the marketing side of it all. It's really exciting, of just the possibilities that are still to come as well.
Sure. That's great. Talk a little bit about, not necessarily has to be what does customer service mean to you? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Customer service to me is one on the bottom line is just good intention and not dealing with things because you just have to deal with them. It's having good intentions and it's also having conversations that might be a little bit tough and might be a conversation that you don't want to have. I think a lot of times in business, our customer service, you just don't want to step on their toes or you don't want to give people the information, but by almost gatekeeping that information when a problem does come up, you're just letting that problem boil a little bit more. So I think good customer service is always having the right intention for helping these people, and then just being an honest partner to rely on. And then thirdly, like I mentioned, is being able to have those clear, concise communications so we don't let those problems fester, and just bring about more of a community because we are all in it together. We are all trying to
Mhm.
get to the same page. And I think by not having tough conversations, it almost makes a relationship a little bit sticky. So, just in my experience, having tough conversations is customer support, whether you want to have them or not.
Agree. And I think back to this was a quick story of Ruby Tuesday years ago. I think first and foremost, to your point, is always try to take care of the customer. Do
Yeah.
everything you can. But at some point, sometimes there's a limit of what you can do or what you should do.
Mhm.
And this was I happened to be at a restaurant and I was looking at the facility for an upcoming remodel, and a lady walked in with a to-go bag. And she said, "This is not what I ordered. I want my money back,"
Mm.
which is fine. But the
Mm.
food was from Chili's and we're Ruby Tuesday. And the manager said, "I'm just happen to be standing there." And he's like, "Well, I'm just going to give her money back." I'm like, no, no. At some point, the customer's wrong.
Yes.
Is wrong. I mean, this is clear as day. And I'm like, "Ma'am, Chili's is two doors down." She's like, "No, I bought this here." I'm like, "What's the food?" And she tells me, I'm like, "Man, we don't even have that on the menu." I mean, I couldn't if we couldn't if we
Oh,
wanted to.
pick that
And,
up.
and so I think it's, people get caught up in customer service. Okay, if a customer complains, we'll do something.
Right.
Well, that's not always the way to do it. If they're right or it's even questionable, yes, you take care of it, but you don't want to go overboard,
I
because what will happen is you just get used and that will happen. So,
what you do is equally as important as what you don't do. And when
sure.
you continue to let people take you outside of what your main focus is and what your mission and your goals are, yeah, you lose a sense of identity of a company. And it just gets lost in translation. That is a crazy story, though, and I'm glad I know that because I'm going to
True
be sharing that
story.
with other
It,
people.
it, it truly happened. So,
Wow.
but for the team that you work with of people, what's two or three values that they need to be successful? What are you looking for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have an easy answer because from the start, we've always had these three words and I still stick with them. And it's translated into my personal life too. But humble, honest, and hardworking people. That is what we look for when we're hiring anybody. IVUEIT was built in a base that we are a family and it feels like we are here for one another. We have a lot of banter, we have a lot of sarcasm, but you don't come here and feel like you're in a very strict environment. We like to have fun. We like to work hard, play hard, as they say, but there also is that piece of being humble, being respectable as we do see growth and also realizing that there is so much to constantly learn, so much to learn. No matter how much you know, there's so much more to learn and there's so much that you don't know. And then it goes to the honesty part, integrity. And I think that plays in a role of like being there for each other's family, being there for each other when we're going through something in our personal life. And then the last one being hardworking and really just strapping your boots on and getting the job done. As I mentioned, we are work hard, play hard. We like to have ping pong contests in the office sometimes. But you know what? We get our job done and we are around the clock for our clients because that is always number one priority. But when you emphasize the having fun in a work environment, it really does encourage your team to work hard too, because you really build this culture of true friendships and true respect for one another. And by having those morals and those values, and we tell that to every single person we hire, it just, as a new team member coming on, it really just sets them in a good position to just be like, I want to be I want to resemble those type of values for the company. And I truly believe, again, like I take it back into my personal life. And it's just something that I try to be in every situation at all times. We can't always be on our A game, but
Sure.
99% of the time we'll try our best.
Well, and I think too, one of the things that companies struggle with sometimes accountability. And I think the better your culture is and the better the teamwork is from the core group, the better that they actually manage their own accountability with each other, and they don't need someone at the top or higher up, to help hold people. The team holds themselves accountable and each other. And when you have a good culture, as you mentioned, and people enjoy each other's friendship and time and so on, it also helps in other ways, one of which is they kind of control their own accountability and hold each other accountable, for what they're supposed to do, and don't need an outside force per se to be a part of that. It's done internally.
Agreed. And how we were just talking about great customer service and having tough conversations, that applies in the workplace too, with your own teammates, that if somebody's doing something wrong, we don't need to go hurry up and report it. We're going to talk to them and have a conversation on a human to human level, rather than their higher up having to come tell them that they're doing something wrong. And when you can have those honest conversations amongst a smaller group of a team, it just makes a much more relaxed environment, which makes people want to work harder, ask questions when they don't know what's going on, and just, again, like you said, have that accountability with each other.
Sure. Give me biggest success, biggest regret. Now, you don't have 40 years of experience like I do to talk about them. I can talk for days on them, but
oh boy. Okay, so we'll start with biggest success. Really, again, just looking back in these past 5 years, what the team at IVUEIT has been able to do. I came on with IVUEIT and was one of their, first employees with the company. So for us we just ranked on Inc. 5000 for 3 years in a row and continue to rise the ranks. And that alone has been very successful, to be self-taught in ways, to be self-taught with a team, to work on very large products. Like we're about to launch our new client portal. We're about to launch a brand new updated IVUEIT app. So having these opportunities that you just don't think you're capable at times. And when I came in at such a young age, I didn't think I belonged in these conversations. I didn't believe I belonged working on these types of projects. So that's been a huge success. And with that, I would say my success for me is almost the feedback that I get. And when I go to trade shows, and I've made friends over the years, their feedback about who I am in the industry and how I've helped, just bring life and energy to the industry has been a huge win for me. And being able to have that recognition, whether it's through the work I'm actually doing or my character for myself at Connects FM last year. IVUEIT was one Supplier of the Year, and I was nominated for Young Professional of the Year. So those were two milestones that I was like, wow, I really am doing this. And it felt very, very rewarding. I think a lot of times in life, we just do what we got to do and we get through the day and we forget to give ourselves that pat on the back to really reflect and realize that we are capable of so much, and we impact a lot of other people's lives through our personality, through the work that we do. So yeah, just connection and growth has been a great success. And for the biggest regret, it's a good question. I think it relates back to what I just said. Was my biggest regret was on my early days, thinking I didn't have a seat at the table, thinking that, and even though I working for a team that they very much so made my voice feel welcome, they very much so let me know I was a part of the team, just feeling very small in what I could actually do, feeling small in conversations I should be a part of, how I go out and talk to somebody at a trade show. I felt very nervous because of my age. And that's something that I would tell anybody, that it doesn't matter what age you are, who you are, where you come from, your opinion matters. And just having a conversation can take you such a long way. When I got over that fear of mine, and it did make me realize how much I was holding myself back, because once I start having those conversations and putting myself out there, my goodness, the opportunities that came my way that were very unexpected, of just being asked to join different boards and join different committees, be chaperones for different things, give facility tour guides. So it's really been a blessing when we come out of our comfort zone, and can just really watch ourselves blossom.
Great, great answer.
Yeah.
Give me one easy trait that you think most everyone could improve on from a business side, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I was going to say the art of validation. I think this could be personal and work life. And validating is really when you're talking, somebody's talking to you, maybe it's a stressor they're going through. A lot of times we like to tell people, like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Life goes on. But validating instead allows a person to recognize that, hey, I hear you. I would be upset if that's going on too. Tell me what
Mhm.
you're going to do about it. And in our personal life, I'm sure we've been with, our spouses, our siblings, our mom and dads. We don't validate them, and we make them not feel heard. And people do it to us as well. But if you can just catch yourself of how you communicate back to each other, whether you're in conversations at a trade show, you're on a work call, whatever somebody's problem is, they want it to be validated. They want to know that they are heard, that, you know, you're not just going to write off a quick fix solution and tell them to get over their problem, basically. So yeah, I would just say everybody can work on that. We talk to each other all day, every day. Pay attention to how you respond and if it's a validating response. And then also pay attention to the way people talk to you. I know we read a book about this at one point, and it really opened my eyes to see how we don't validate each other and how that can cause such a friction in conversations and can make a conversation go this way or this way. So yeah, practice the art of validation and see how your life might change.
That's great. Great answer. I've laughed many times in speaking to someone, and when they're saying, "How are you?" I want to give them a really bad answer because I know they're never going to hear me. Like,
Yes,
"How are
yes.
you?" I report to prison tonight at midnight. Well, that's great. Good for you. And then they just keep talking,
Yeah.
or just make something up because they're not even hearing. So I think that's really important with people because of struggles that people have and so on is, and maybe you don't understand, but to your point, you can the verification of it. I understand this is important for you, and
Yeah, and in a business standpoint, you can really uncover a lot of problems and pain points that you're solving that maybe they weren't going to tell you, but when you can just be more present in the conversation with them, you might be able to peel back a lot of layers to really get to the essence of what their issue is. You might think it's one thing on the outside, but when you keep peeling back the layers, there's a bigger issue underneath all of it. And by using validation practices, you might be able to uncover that.
sure, absolutely. I've had that happen. I'm being a former facility guy for most all my life, and now on the service side, but working with facility people day in, day out. And every now and then you can just tell there's something going on, and a customer that you've worked with for a long time and it's been great relationships on starts every invoice or every quote that comes in, he starts having questions, he or she. Hey, did your budget get cut? Yeah. How'd you know? Well, because this is what's happening, you know
Yeah.
or pressures on for the quarter or whatever it may be, just because you've been there and you kind of hear some things, and then to your point, they start peeling back the apple a little bit, and they say, hey, yeah, this is what I'm going through. Okay, let me help. Let me try to help now that I know, what's
Absolutely.
going on. It's a great point.
Good example. Yep.
You mentioned organizations and shows. Kind of what all is IVUEIT involved with? I know RIFMA, probably Connex, I'm sure. What else? Because you could serve a lot of different people. Real estate, uh, retail, restaurants,
Yeah.
hotels, lots of things.
It's really all over the place. Yeah, so the two you mentioned, we are part of RIFMA and Connects. We also go to Specs, which is
Hmm.
train store. We also go to Bank Facilities Forum. So we've been going to that 2 years in a row. We really love that one, much more of an intimate type of experience,
Hmm.
presenting actual presentations to the board of the facility managers. But then outside of the FM space, yes, we are in the residential world. We really are in the IMN, Information Management Network, really in the SFR space, the default space. So we go to quite a few shows hosted by IMN. We also do, yeah, retail shows. So we just went to, or we have upcoming NACS. NACS is a giant show. Let me tell you, I've never seen so much food in one place, but it's focused on all retail. So you have Oreo, you have Reese's, you have Monsters, just any brand you can think of is there. We also go to other retail shows, Newtopia, Sweets and Snacks. We've just started getting into the retail space last year and attending shows in the retail space. So we have a couple new ones upcoming. And then we're also in the insurance space. So we always go to a show called InsurTech, which that's also coming up here very soon. Trying to think, we work in with municipalities as well. We have went to a couple of those in the past, whether they're local here in Columbus or we have done past work in Georgia. So we've gone to a couple shows in Georgia called GACE. But yeah, we are constantly on the hopper looking for new shows. I think we attend about 15 to 17 a year. But those are our main organizations we stay a part of, as well as NAMPS, which is a part of the residential sector.
And you market to all of those.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a
Yes,
lot
it
because
is.
most people it's focused one or two or a certain piece, or if it's a vendor, they work for certain groups and that's kind of about it. But that's a lot
It's a
of
lot.
different
And then
customers.
the crazy part is too, because within those sectors, there's different sectors and different types of views that different people care about. So yeah, it's definitely tricky. Thank God I am organized and have worked 5 years to be organized, but it's a lot to manage, but it's also it's always a learning curve when we break into these new markets, of course. I don't come from the real estate industry or municipality, so that is such an amazing part of this team is as a collective how much we are educating ourselves together as we go through this too. And those trade shows are obviously a huge reason for that.
Sure. And it helps too that you're so you have a different variety of customers. You know, one of the good bad problems in the world is if you're serving casual dining for conversation and casual dining is declining a little bit, it's much more quick serve and so on. And that's your main focus. Well, then there's a big chunk of your base, you know,
Mhm.
that could be gone in a period of time. And in what you're doing with all the different type customers that you have kind of spread out. I mean, something goes bad in banks for conversation.
You got back
You
up.
still have plenty of other folks to work to. Banks is not a, you know, is probably, it's not the main focus. It's one of, but not the main. Whereas, you know, for other folks or vendors or somebody like that that's maybe doing just restaurants, well, how the restaurant world is impacting their business, good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so right. Like we feel spoiled when we go to these facility management trade shows because we could talk to the retailers, we can talk to the vendors, the contractors, all of them make sense to be a client. So that is a very exciting part. But yeah, a learning curve part, but hey, I'm not going to complain about that piece of it.
Absolutely. My last question, what's your go-to slogan? Kind of keeps your eye on the ball or keeps you moving forward every day? What is it?
You know, I'm going to say something different than what I planned to because I just had to run to Lowe's to pick up some saran wrap. And when I was walking out, the greeter at the door, he said, "Hello, ma'am. We are too blessed to be stressed." And it hit me, and I was like, Amen. So
That is
I was
great.
like, too blessed to be stressed. So I'll use that as my quote today because I think that it could apply in every situation that no matter what's going on in our life, and we do all have very hard times. Life is difficult at times,
Sure.
but there's so many reasons why we are blessed. And even through all the stress and work chaos and what's going on in your personal life, there's always something to come back to. It's the people that love you and the people that you love. So we'll end on that one. Too blessed.
That is absolutely great. Great.
Yeah.
Emily, thank you so much for taking time today. Congratulations on your 5-year anniversary with IVUEIT. And thanks to speaking to our audience today about your company and you and what you do. So certainly appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, Danny, seriously, thanks. So glad we did this and can't wait to catch up soon.
That will be great. Thanks, everybody. We look forward to talking with you again on another episode of FM Corner.